Hey y'all, hey. I didn't record this live, but I did pre-record it so that I could post it. And I wanted to talk about that Holy Spirit. That Holy Spirit. That Holy Spirit. I think we forget a lot of times to ask ourselves, why am I like this? Especially when we get involved in relationships and stuff like that, we don't really dig into ourselves or our sacral chakras enough to fully understand why we are the way we are. And I hope that you are enlightened to understand a friend or yourself in that, and find acceptance and forgiveness and as much healing as I received from Spirit when it came and it was revealed to me. It just made all the sense in the world. It boosted my self-confidence, worth, understanding, and it was magic. So I hope that you find the same in all of that. And I think there's a huge misunderstanding of that Holy Spirit because of religious conditioning, because of, school conditioning through schools and other, elements or agents, social agents that is compromised our intelligence, our intel, and what we know in the subconscious and our deep in our subconscious. And I hope that this just brings it forth and enlightens somebody. I think for women, if you identify with this definition or interpretation of that Holy Spirit that I'm going to provide, that once you come to understand it, it will help you start to identify some missing link or even trauma, if applicable, related to your sexuality, your experiences, your self-expression, or even your love language. And for men who are on the journey, and I hope it helps to understand the divine feminine in a different way, holistic. Okay, I'll stick to the script. And maybe it will explain some behaviors for previous interactions with women, even on like your part, your responsibility of it, because at some point we've got to take responsibility for our own experiences and not be blaming other people. And like we will often use the excuse, or men will use the excuse, I don't know why I messed with that girl. I don't know why I fucked her. I don't know why, I was with her, I had sex with her. I made a mistake. And when in actuality, it wasn't no mistake, bruh. It wasn't no mistake. It was something, it could have been manipulation. But that just shows your lack of your self-awareness and enlightenment to be able to get entangled in such a situation. But also, it could have been something in your spirit that you needed from that woman. It may have been a soul tie from yester millennials, if that makes sense, that you didn't understand or understand before until you get this definition about what I'm going to give you in regards to that Holy Spirit. Now, I don't know if everybody has experienced this, but I know for me, I can tell, and I'm sure there were adults around me when I was in my youth and had become sexually active, if they could tell. My brother, who was a street preacher, was into his salvation and like the super crip Christian, okay? And he had the words on the back of his escort, basic instructions before leaving Earth acronym written on his tinted window. Like, he was hardcore, right? And he's actually the one who introduced me and my brother to like non-denominational belief in Christianity and such. And I think he could tell. And he also, though, had an inside view of what was going on in our family dynamics. So I believe that helped as well. But not everybody is capable of that sort of understanding. So, in all fairness, I think, though, if a mind is open, if your mind is open to understanding this definition, that you'll be able to distinguish what I'm saying without the religious confines or the preconceived ideas or teachings, old psychology. There's nothing spiritual about psychology in a modern sense. I hope that makes sense. When psyche, the word psyche means related to the soul, spirit, the soul, and modern psychology does not even come close to that. The school of psychology is formulated to get people to think a certain kind of way so that everybody is thinking the same way so that they can form the new world order. But that's another subject for another day. I digress. What I want to emphasize here is that a lot of people got this idea of what a hoe is in their mindset because of religious and conditioning and school conditioning, like political, basically conditioning. That's how we were pretty much brought up, right? Which is why there's a whole big deal about sexuality, and why there's still this big thing about people being gay, that's why it's a whole struggle and a whole alphabet gang about it, So I just want people to take the time, especially before you come commenting on my posts, thinking that you know something that you haven't identified with only because you read a book or because you was raised in the church and y'all believe it this way, that way, that. Please miss me with that shit. Don't come on here with that at all. Please don't. Spare yourself. Oh, and anyway, I just don't want anybody just hauling off and going above their own head with something, and then I have to break you down, and that would be embarrassing for you. So anyway, and before you continue to watch this, I want you to breathe deeply through your nose and think. Free my mind, open my mind to understanding. And I believe this practice, this quick meditation practice, which is what I do before I do any readings. I allow people, I do it myself, and I also will have the recipient of the reading to breathe. It's a quick meditation to relax and calm your central nervous system and just remove some of those preconceived ideas and notions about what you are expecting to hear or what you think it is, and instead open your mind up to a different understanding. Okay? Understanding. And I think that if people talked and listened, listened more to other ideas, it would help enlighten people. So anyway, that whole spirit in the church, since the old Baptist, Episcopal, whatever, that Jezebel spirit or whatever, we have Jezebels in the Bible or whatever, if that's a reference. So yeah, we did. However, women, because we are a super power, a super energy, unmatched. You were born with the womb. You are unmatched because you can give life. You can tolerate pain more than a man can. I mean, we can literally have the ability to create a life and push something. I mean, nurture it for a whole 10 months actually, in our ecosystem, within us, and push something the size of a watermelon or loaf of bread out, something the size of a strawberry. That's super powerful. That's unmatched. And then live to tell about it. Not everybody live, but most live to tell about it. That's super phenomenal, right? And we were doing this creation before we created men, we were, what's it called? We were, it's like it's like a dandelion. The seeds of a dandelion, it doesn't need a male, to reproduce itself. It grows like, because it is a seed. So we are a seed, right? And so anyway, the church would believe that women had this sort of like, if they slept with, more than one man, and they weren't, just committed to one man, or if they allowed themselves to fall into a deep set of emotions for one person and then another at a later time, they were considered to have what they called a hoe spirit, or a Jezebel spirit, and be stoned like back in the days, right? Whatever, because of these religious idolatries, because of this matriarchal system. Fix my words. This matriarchal system, right? So, in spite of that, though, we have still been very, very powerful, very, very influential. We've always had this other sort of intuition or mindset that men honestly cannot see. Like, we can see another woman violating or disrespecting us the way, when she is intentionally doing so, trying to communicate with our man. And it will be to sort of jab at the other female, because it's that like little weird kind of competition thing that a lot of women have, right? But that audacity, first of all, there's a lot of audacity, and I think you're gonna get your ass whipped, right? In these times and days, is a magic. For him to become enchanted, or to even like listen, like, oh wow, she's nice, or to make a compliment about her in the presence of his woman whom he's supposed to be with, right, or whatever, and for him to make that statement and not see that this person was trying to enchant him, and at the same time take a jab and disrespect his woman, he won't see that at all. Completely oblivious, right? And that woman would also be considered that hoe. Right? So, however, though, and also in psychology, let me go back first before I go forward. Also in psychology, there is this way that a woman can use what she knows, the general psychology of the opposite sex, to manipulate him, or to get him to do things, or to set up even a whole situation. That's how hoes be setting up dudes for, unfortunate events like getting robbed, or for setting them up to make them leave their wives, or setting them up to, get tricked out of his money, or, manipulating him into spending his money in ways that he would not have otherwise spent them, right? Or leaving his family, right? All those sort of things is a power, is an influence, is a power. And that's an energy that a woman has. Not every woman has it. Every woman is capable, however, of tapping into that energy. But not every woman can fluidly use that sort of influence. Okay? And it's like a lot of how now women use money these days to just buy their men. That's another subject. I digress. So I think that should be understood, right? That's the human, or the religious and psychological version of a hoe, right? In the streets, that hoe is somebody who just sleep with a lot of men, somebody who just manipulates a dude out of his money, or yada yada, right? Using her body to gain money, or to, whatever. Then the spiritual version, though, is that women have experiences also related to, a lot of times we talk about how a man relates to a woman depends on, you know, how he treats his mother. You hear that a lot. And just recently, in the last 10 maybe years, we've been talking about how the lack of a father in the home not only affects the male dynamic, it also affects the female. And I have father in the home, right? It's not necessarily the father being in the home, because it's not just necessarily the absenteeism of a father, but it's how the dynamic of the relationship between the mother and the father, how that went, especially when it came to the stage of puberty. And I am speaking from experience when I'm giving this information, and it all was just so like, it took me years to understand it. And it shouldn't maybe necessarily take that long for everybody else. If I'm able to impart some information to help somebody not speed along their journey, but to understand their journey more, that's what I'm here to do, and try to help people understand. So anyway, I believe that even if you have a father in the home and he treats you a certain kind of way, will be the way that you expect to be treated by other men, consciously and subconsciously. You will have expectations or a standard because you saw the way he operated in your family dynamic as the leader or whatever, right? Or not. So if a father was in the home with a mom, and if there was a mom and a dad in the home, and the dad was a pushover, or the mom pretty much wore the britches and did all the, you know what I'm saying, ran the household pretty much because dad was cool with that or whatever, then a woman is probably more likely to have that same sort of like personality or take on the persona of her mom. She's gonna probably like try to rule over a dude she dates, tell him what to do. If he don't do it, that means he don't love me type mentality. And I think that is important to understanding the inner self. We have to look like, why am I like this? Oh, I saw my dad do this, or I saw my mom do this, so this is the way I am. And even if your dad was, I have a girlfriend whose dad passed, rest in peace, and she was definitely a daddy's girl. She was raised by her dad, and he had girlfriends, and I don't remember if he had a wife, but he did have girlfriends. But the way he treated her as a priority, she will now not accept nothing less. Like, she has to be the priority in the relationship. And like, kudos, because he did an excellent job in praising her and protecting her and raising her to be queen-like in a sense, right? And I think that's super important. And then I have a friend who, her dad, very reserved, kind of just quiet. And I could tell he was a strong man. He just like wasn't like he ain't finna, look, wife, you got it. And so the mom sort of a little more wore the britches than the dad. And so she, as a wife and mother now, shout out to my girl, she know who she is if she watched this, is kind of like the boss of the house. I've seen the dynamic. It's like, oh, she kind of like a little more in charge. The husband's kind of like, what the fuck, like whatever. So you see those dynamics play out. Now, when it comes to that whole spirit, when a man cheats, he is actually probably cheating. So I don't know why I did it. You probably don't know why you did it, because you're not tapped into your spiritual side and to receiving messages from spirit. But she was sent to you for some reason that, for earthly reasons or human feelings sake, it would offend the wife and break his heart. There would just be this chaotic, chaos created because of that situation. And he was intrigued by something, however. He was intrigued by her, whether it was her beauty, whether it was the way she walked, whether it was the way her booty bounced or swayed when she walked. Maybe it was the way her breasts set up, that gave him that triggered a memory in his subconscious and why he felt the need to embrace it and take her. And I don't think that either party should be blamed. Although, okay, I'm not giving nobody permission to go cheat with and have an excuse for, oh, that was the spiritual. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that at all. And I could never accept anybody who breaks our boundaries and agreement like that. That's just me, okay? Everybody's different. And I think that it's better to acknowledge what for the woman who's probably pissed the hell off because her husband or boyfriend or whatever stepped outside of the relationship to have relations with another woman. Why her? What is it special about her, right? And it could honestly be that she has that whole spirit. There's a healing. There's a healer inside of her. There was something beautiful. There was something that he needed that doesn't make you less of a woman or missing something. It just wasn't the something that he needed at that time. Maybe there was a karmic dynamic to it where there was a link that those souls had to meet back up and rekindle for reasons we cannot understand. And it's okay that we don't understand every aspect of spiritual science because it's not meant to. It's a part of our journey for us to get these small jewels and pieces and to live a life that is abundant and brings us joy. And when we have understanding, when we take the patience to listen to spirit instead of being so heavily involved in our emotions or attached to our emotions about a situation, feeling disrespected, all that bullshit, then you can have a happier life. You can, if you accept it, like, okay, it's just we're here to experience other people that we cross paths with. And that's why I have no like hard feelings about people that I've befriended in the past. Like, we could pick up and talk today if we see each other. I know I have a friend here on Instagram that we were friends back when I first moved to Georgia, and I forgot why we fell out. But it's like we were able to pick back up. I mean, all the years did some healing, I'm sure, and forgiveness about whatever it was that happened that stopped us from, talking back then. But I got to experience her. And when I remember those experiences that helped elevate me or give me a better understanding or a different understanding, and hopefully it helped her get a better understanding, and I enlightened her in some kind of ways, or enriched her life in any kind of way, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? That helped people's journey to where they are now. And as long as we are mindful in doing that, I think we could all live a super phenomenal life full of happiness and triumphs. We're going to go through shit. I mean, we're guaranteed to go through shit. But if we don't go through shit, how are we going to learn shit? If we don't go through shit, how are we going to elevate our mindset and our consciousness? We don't get into these hyped up emotional situations just to get angry and get ourselves killed or put in jail. You damn dummy. Sorry, rest in peace. Not sorry, you in jail. Oh, whatever. I ain't no fucking judge. Who am I to judge? Okay? So I just wanted to bring that to people's attention, and hopefully it'll bless you. It'll help you release some old thoughts. It'll help you grow spiritually. It will enlighten you and help you accept people and enjoy the experience of people while you have them in your life for whatever period of time. It doesn't have to be until death, those situations, because seasons change and we grow into a different parts of our lives as we get older, yada, 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 that wonderful stuff. And I hope that blessed you. So, yeah, that's all I had to say. Peace.